Yeah, well, I don't know what you would say, Phil, but I think the Crescent Partnership's been a massive success story for Salford for a number of years now, really. It's something I was quite proud when I came to Salford to almost kind of inherit what is a 10-15 year plus relationship between the local authority, the private sector in and around the city, and it's been I think we know it's been a success story that's got a lot of previous to build on in New Bailey, Chapel Street are the kind of obvious candidate schemes for that, really, but the longevity of that, the relationship between the private sector and the council and both sides in that taking risk really has been a really big success story, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'd agree, and I think like all things, it's these things regenerate in their own right and refresh, and I think what's been particularly great about the Crescent is it's taken the strength of the work we've been doing for years with the council, and it's added a new freshness and vitality with the university coming in alongside now, and obviously with being the Crescent and innovation driven in part, and obviously your good self and colleagues who've come in with fresh ideas, not just fresh ideas but challenges. So why would we do it that way? Why would we? And that allows you to kind of reflect, but then very quickly move on because you're building off a strong base. So it bodes well for where we're heading, I think.
Yeah, I think innovation's a massive part of what we're trying to achieve in the Crescent and in Salford for the long run. I think there's a real energy about that for two main reasons for me. One is that there's a kind of really interesting unknown economy of the future that we need to back that horse before it runs, really, would be my view. The jobs that are going to be there in 5-10 years time, we don't quite know what they are yet, but we need to invest in that, in healthcare, in the built environment and in digital and AI in particular. But the second reason is it's a labour market opportunity. We all know that. We've got deprived communities on the doorstep, and I think we want the next phase of that, don't we, to be a real mark of success, that it's about engagement and it's about jobs for local people and those career pathways, and their careers now, they're not just one-off interventions, are they?
No, without a doubt. I think there's kind of three key points in this for me, really. That you've got the first aspect, which is, you're absolutely right, we're living in probably the most dynamic period of history for the last 100-200 years, and we don't know where that's going. Now that's exciting as a developer and for the partnership, but it can be obviously very kind of unsettling for a community, and we can provide that certainty by providing that opportunity. I think what really excites me actually about, in the second point about the opportunity, is that it's not hung on one thing. It's actually that what we're doing is we're delivering, what we're saying is it feels like a very Salford approach of, come in, you're welcome here and we'll support you to try something. And that's built around the strengths of the university, which in its own right is very grounded in what people need, not some idea of what might be that may not materialise. And I think the last one, you've absolutely hit the nail on the head, Tom, and it links back to the first point, really, how critical this is for the adjacent community. I mean, it's very, very important for the whole growth corridor of the north of Greater Manchester. But you look at some of the communities that we border with, the fact that I use the term border tells you about that degree of separation that we can break down.
Yeah, definitely need to overcome that. And I think the last bit for me that's a really important ingredient is it's not just about our partnership, the Muse, ECF and Council partnership. As you say, we've got the university on board with that, we've got Peel Media City on board, the City College, other training providers, and that's a really exciting mix, I think, for the long run.
The words collaboration and partnership are overused, but they definitely apply to this scheme, without a doubt.
It has the scale to be a signature scheme, not just for Salford, not just for Greater Manchester, but I think for the northwest, for the north of England. You know, it's potentially of global significance, as is the partnership that sits behind it. And I think the second thing for me is there's so much talk and so much chatter really about levelling up, about inclusive growth, about, you know, whatever kind of badge you want to attach to that. But we've got this real opportunity, backed by investment on both sides, to really make that happen. And we talked earlier at Reef this week as to the kind of mission that we're on. We've been on a mission for some time, and Salford's known for just kind of cracking on and getting on with that mission. And I think that sense of, making a real impact on jobs, employment, employability for the whole community is really what underlines it being a signature scheme of the future, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's. I think the biggest compliment we've been paid today, and this isn't just talking about Salford Central, it's talking about Greengate, it's talking about Media City, is that people have kind of assumed it was always going to happen. People coming to those places now automatically assume, well, of course it would happen, and they don't see all of the tough decisions we had to make as a partnership, and with you with your other partners to get it to that point. And actually that's got us to a start line, I think. It'd be easy to look back and think, well, we've been successful as a partnership because we've got global occupiers now in New Bailey. We've got a new residential district that fits neatly into the existing communities. You could say that's it, job done. You've got a globally significant media city. You could say job done. Actually, that's got us to the start line. What's exciting about is what that will allow us to propel and to connect into that immediate community, but then, as you say, the hinterland of off in one direction, the Oldhams, the Burys, the Wigans, where we can we can make a big difference, because if one thing we all know is levelling up isn't this kind of media badge of north versus south. Levelling up is places immediately adjacent to places. The opportunities we're going to be able to create there, I'd say, are really, really exciting.
Yeah, no, really, really exciting. And I really like one of the things that you said at an event we were at together earlier, where we were talking about the partnership, the relationship between ourselves. And I think it was someone in the audience said, what does that mean in practice? And your answer was great, because you said something along the lines of, it's a contract, but a contract we never have to get out of the cupboard, really. And I think that kind of underlines the sense that all of the partners are there at the table to solve those wider issues. It's not just about us delivering the built environment impact, but it's about us working together hard on those broader impacts of this for the long run, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about when we started our discussions before COVID, before the terrible events over in Eastern Europe, before and then the first partnership in Salford Central started before the financial crash, and before, so you don't know, we're in a world of change, and if you have to go running to contracts and development agreements, you're going to fail at the first hurdle. What it takes is partners to come together, collaborate, and say, right, how do we work to solve this new challenge, and who are we doing it for? And I think that's where the partnership has worked really, really well. It's not been about four walls and a roof and some paving around it. It's been who's this for, and how are we going to change things? And that's where we've got a real opportunity to build.